Hey all, welcome back. Now, today we're just gonna give Zach, our Super Agile Coach, another prompt, and this time we're asking him or her, we're asking it to provide the top three things that are often put in LinkedIn job descriptions for Scrum Masters and that have no place being there. And here are the top three negative things. First one is must be able to manage the team. Second one is responsible for project delivery. And the third one is must have deep technical expertise in insert your specific technology stack. Now, this is interesting. So, first of all, I haven't seen the first one though. I haven't seen it in this format. I have seen it as must make decisions or must be able to make decisions, or there's something leaning towards the fact that he or she they're a manager, the Scrum Master. So definitely along those lines, must be able to manage the team. Make sure that as a Scrum Master you are a servant leader, although in the latest Scrum guide it just specifies true leader, but I think a true leader knows how to be a servant when they need to be a servant. So you're working for your team as well as guiding your team. So be careful with that. The second one, this is actually quite often, I've seen it in job descriptions, is responsible for project delivery. So
Yeah.
again, as ChatGPT mentions or as SAC mentions, while Scrum Masters do play a crucial part in supporting the team and the process, they are not solely responsible for the delivery of the project. So again, team effort, the emphasis should be on a team effort. Avoid the hierarchical Scrum Master is a manager. And I'm just going to quickly cover the third one, which is must have deep technical expertise. Now, this is something that I've also seen a bit debated on LinkedIn, is if a Scrum Master should have a technical background. In my opinion, you should have worked in a Scrum team if you are a Scrum Master. So you should have knowledge of what the teams are usually facing, what they're struggling with, what it's like to kind of be on the ground. So I think you should have technical knowledge, uh, expertise. I think that's the key word which our our SAC actually has focused on, because expertise definitely that turns into something else. You may be a technical lead at this point. So Vlad, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I've seen so the first one I have like as you mentioned yourself, I haven't seen it that often. I have seen it's almost a misunderstanding of what a leadership means and what a leader is, the ability to manage the team. And I've seen it in a company that I worked for where they didn't understand it. They basically thought that Scrum is business as usual, waterfall with just different terminology. But and that kind of tends to ruin. You can't build trust and openness in a team if you manage them instead of actually lead them as you need to. The other two I've come across a lot more often, and actually for the second one we've come across it with different guests that we had on the podcast that it's one of the most common traps for Scrum Masters to become a delivery manager. Uh, so that's something that I guess it's quite easy, especially with for upper management, that they want to be in control, and to be in control they need somebody responsible, somebody they can yell at, or somebody that can then chase results and chase due dates and so on. And the third one is I've come across this personally, and I'm to some extent I'm in the middle of it right now because I might have an interview. I'm kind of in the middle with talking to a company, about a Scrum Master role, but they require an expertise in automation testing, and that's kind of a bit of a minus in my case. I know testing, I know a bit of automation testing, but I'm nowhere near an expert in this. I wouldn't say I have an expertise. I'd say I'm able to kind of survive barely. Like I'm able to step in for a tester if they go on leave for like a day or two.
Yeah, I think, are you actually a Scrum Master then if you're also doing QA officially on record? So you basically have QA, have Scrum Master. It's an interesting one because can
Yeah.
you, that half of you, that other half of you that's a Scrum Master, can that be kind of split and be objective towards the team's struggles? Or are you too involved with the team to help them in that sense? I think that's a big issue as a Scrum Master. But then again, they may not need a Scrum Master at that point.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, I understand where it comes from, because it's. I think we even had this discussion previously in the podcast. There was the Scrum Master ever meant to be a full time position, or was it always meant to be a part of the team as it to some
Yeah.
extent? So in that situation, it would make sense that if a company at least comes from that mentality, they would think, okay, I need somebody to be a developer, but be like step up as a Scrum Master. So
Yes, but here's the thing. I think even though one may argue that a Scrum Master is not a full-time position within a team, I would not I would not have the Scrum Master as half Scrum Master, half another role. I would rather have the Scrum Master half in one team, half in another team, or even split them between 3 or 4 teams. But having a Scrum Master that's half developer, half Scrum Master basically means that it's going to be a lot harder, first of all, to get yourself out of that team mentality because you are working in a team context. As a developer, you're going to struggle with things in the team. And then when the Scrum Master, for example, should facilitate the retrospective and you're trying to improve what's happening within the team, you're going to be way too close to everything.
yeah,
So I
no,
think at that point, your judgment is going to be clouded. And I think your ability as a Scrum Master and basically your objectiveness is going to be impacted severely by that point. So you're doing a bad job most likely as a Scrum Master if you're something else as well.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Especially going towards that, it's the conclusion that GPT-4 gives at the end. I also really like that these misalignments in job descriptions indicate a misunderstanding or misuse of the Scrum framework and the Scrum Master role. So, as a Scrum Master, it's crucial to clarify these expectations during the interview process to ensure a good fit and alignment with Scrum principles. So, it's you do need to bring these up during the interview. Like
Definitely.
it's if you end up, and I've had a conversation with the 1 second, sorry about that, the Discord messages. I had the conversations with the recruiter about those aspects, the QA aspects, and I said, look, I can learn, I can cover, I understand the QA side of things, but in order for me to develop an expertise in QA, I would need to dedicate so much time that I wouldn't dedicate that time to grow as a Scrum Master. So that's what they also, it's the recruiter understood. However, it made it clear that it wasn't, well, in this case, it wasn't her final decision. So even though she agreed, it didn't exactly, might not have worked in the end. So it
Yeah.
might still not, might have been out of her hands or out of our hands in that case.
I think this boils down to the company's needs, the
Yeah,
company's culture, and then, as the conclusion basically says, there may be a misunderstanding or misuse of the Scrum framework, which a lot of companies are doing, and they just kind of fell into a pattern, and they see that it works, to some extent, because Scrum bot or half Scrum may work. So there's no necessarily good or bad and in implementing half of it, because there are a lot of things that can work. So you adapt Scrum to your company, but sometimes if you don't evolve from that process, then you're kind of stuck in the same old things, and then you get deeper and deeper, and you get these kinds of roles which end up covering completely different stuff, because the Scrum Master is not really, uh, I guess, valued is the right word. Because the
Yeah,
value that you can bring as a Scrum Master is severely downgraded by you being something else, in my
yeah,
opinion.
and effectively, and I'll put it even more bluntly and more out there, and it simply that Scrum isn't for every organization. It might just be that they're looking for a QA, or in my case a QA. I'm not. It's not necessarily whatever insert the specific technology stack here to be the team lead in like XP or in a different agile framework. That might be what works best for them, but because Scrum has become so popular, they want the terminology, they want the title of Scrum Master, just so.
Yeah. But I think for today, for this episode, I think that's it. If you all like our content, please don't forget, subscribe, like, and if there's any suggestions, if there's any questions, if there's any complaints,
Especially
ping
any
us in the chat.
interesting prompts that you come across, like if you get any AI prompts that give you insightful answers from GPT, put them in the comments. We might actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna all the prompts that we put in these small episodes, we're gonna put in the description of the video as well, so you can explore them yourselves.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
That was it for today.
Thanks, everyone.